Welcome back to Choti Si Dunya, everyone. Before we jump into today's adventure, make sure you've hit that like button, shared the video with a friend, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss a thing. Now, let's see what happens next with Ayaan and Zoya. The sky above Choti Si Dunya had turned a grim shade of grey. Ayaan and Zoya walked on, a heavy silence hanging. Between them, the world just didn't feel the same. Zoya was the first to speak, her voice barely a whisper. The world feels different without Rumi. Ayan kicked a small stone, his gaze fixed on the dusty path. Yeah, like something is missing. He didn't have to say more. Zoya knew exactly what he meant. Rumi's laughter, his boundless optimism. It was all gone. Now only an empty space remained, a void that echoed with every step they took. Suddenly, the wind picked up, howling through the twisted trees around them. It wasn't a normal wind. It carried a chill that had nothing to do with the temperature. Zoya stopped dead in her tracks, her head snapping up. Her eyes widened. Do you hear that? Ayan nodded slowly, his hand instinctively moving toward the hilt of a sword that wasn't there. His senses were on high alert. Someone's coming. The feeling was unmistakable. A pressure in the air, a sense of being watched by something ancient and powerful. As if on cue, the ground beneath their feet trembled, a network of thin, cracks spread out from where they stood, and the shadows around them began to stretch and twist, behaving in ways that defied the laws of nature. They grew unnaturally long, reaching for them like dark, grasping fingers. Then a voice echoed from all around, deep and resonant, a sound that seemed to vibrate in their very bones, children of another world. Zoya's breath hitched in her throat. She clutched her chest, a flicker of recognition in her eyes. That voice? It was familiar, yet horrifyingly different. It was the same voice from their nightmares, the one that had haunted their journey from the very beginning. Ayan stepped forward, planting his feet firmly on the cracked earth. He clenched his fists, his knuckles turning white. He refused to be intimidated. "Show yourself!" He shouted into the swirling darkness, his voice ringing with defiance. The shadows answered his call. They gathered in a whirlwind of black, coalescing into a single point. From this vortex of darkness, a tall, imposing figure emerged, wrapped in a cloak of pure shadow. Its form was indistinct, constantly shifting, but 2 points of light glowed from where its eyes should be, burning with cold, ancient fire. The Shadow King spoke again, his voice a low rumble. "You carry courage." And grief, the words weren't a question. They were a statement, a cold observation that sent a shiver down their spines. He saw right through them. Zoya found her voice, her fear warring with her anger. "What do you want from us?" The Shadow King's glowing eyes narrowed. "Choti Si Dunya belongs to me." He said it with such finality, as if stating an undeniable fact. Ayan shook his head, a defiant scowl on his face. "It belongs to everyone," he countered, his voice steady and strong, "to all the people who live here, who love this world." A soft, chilling laugh escaped the shadowy figure. It was a sound devoid of any humor, filled only with cold amusement. Such confidence from such small hearts. The air around them grew heavy and cold, the temperature dropping so fast they could see their own breath misting in front of them. It felt like the very life was being drained from the world. Zoya's eyes blazed with a sudden, fierce realization. Grief and anger merged into a single powerful emotion. "You took Rumi." The accusation hung in the air, sharp and painful. The Shadow King was silent for a moment. "No," he said, his voice flat. "He chose." The words hit a yawn like a physical blow. Rage, pure and unrestrained, erupted within him. With a guttural yell, he lunged forward, intending to strike the shadowy figure down. But he never made it. A wave of solid shadow erupted from the king, slamming into Ayan and throwing him backward through the air. He landed hard, the wind knocked out of him. "Ayan!" Zoya cried, rushing to his side, her heart pounding with terror. She helped him sit up, his face pale but his eyes still burning with defiance. He pushed himself to his feet, swaying slightly but refusing to stay down. He looked the Shadow King straight in his glowing eyes. "If you think fear will stop us, you're wrong." The Shadow King tilted its head, a gesture of curiosity. "Fear is not what I use." As he spoke, the ground around them began to shimmer. The cracked earth transformed into a screen, showing them horrifying images, villages falling into ruin, beautiful forests turning to ash, the vibrant lights of Choti Si Dunya flickering and fading into darkness. "This is the future," the Shadow King declared, "a future I have already written." Zoya squeezed her eyes shut, trying to block out the devastating visions, but she couldn't. This was the fate he had planned for their world. She took a deep breath, and when she opened her eyes again, they were filled with a newfound resolve. "The future can change," she said, her voice clear and unwavering. For the first time, the shadows around the king flickered, as if her words had a physical effect on them. He seemed momentarily surprised. "Interesting," he mused. Just then, a searing light erupted on Ayaan's arm. He cried out in surprise and looked down. A glowing symbol was being etched into his skin, a complex pattern of light that pulsed with energy. "What is this?" he asked, staring at the mark in confusion. "A mark of resistance," the Shadow King answered, his tone laced with something that might have been annoyance. At the same time, Zoya noticed a similar, soft light beginning to spread around her hands. It wasn't a mark, but a gentle aura that seemed to push back the encroaching darkness. She looked at her glowing hands, then at Ayaan's mark, and a smile touched her lips. "We're not alone." And then a third voice echoed, faint but clear, seeming to come from within their own minds. "You never were." Ayaan's head whipped around, his eyes wide with disbelief. He knew that voice better than his own. "Rumi," he called out, his voice cracking with hope. The Shadow King let out a roar of pure fury that shook the very ground. Silence. The light around Ayaan and Zoya dimmed instantly under the force of his anger. The visions on the ground vanished, and the world returned to its grim, grey state. The king's shadowy form began to pull back, receding into the darkness from which it came. "Meet me at the Obsidian Tower." "If you dare," his voice boomed, a final, echoing challenge. And just like that, he was gone. The unnatural shadows withdrew, and the sky above slowly began to brighten, the heavy grey giving way to a pale, hopeful blue. The oppressive cold vanished, replaced by the familiar warmth of Choti Si Dunya. Zoya hurried to Ayaan, helping him to his feet. He was shaken but unharmed. "He's challenging us," she said, her gaze firm. Ayaan nodded, his eyes fixed on the horizon. "Then we accept." Zoya looked down at the glowing mark on Ayaan's arm, which was now pulsing with a steady, gentle light. "Rumi's still with us." Somehow, it wasn't just a hope anymore. It was a certainty. His voice had given them the strength they needed. Ayaan's gaze followed hers to the mark, then lifted to the far distance. There, piercing the sky like a shard of black glass, was a single dark tower, the Obsidian Tower. "This ends at that tower," he said, his voice filled with grim determination. As if in agreement, the mark on his arm pulsed once, a strong, steady beat, like a heartbeat. The fight was far from over. It had just begun. What an incredible turn of events! Rumi's voice, the mark of resistance, the challenge at the Obsidian Tower. What do you think will happen next? Let us know your theories in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video, share it with your fellow adventurers, and subscribe to Choti Si Dunya for the next chapter of this epic story. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.